Hi, thanks for joining me for today's courageous question. I'm Peggy Oliveira. Today's question comes from Rosie, and Rosie, like a lot of people, struggles with the need and the desire to spend time alone and the feeling that there's a need or should to be around other people. Finding that balance can be quite challenging. And with a pandemic, and she talked about this for herself, with a pandemic, it has been a little bit more challenging. For a lot of people, there's been a little bit of a relief to not have to engage a lot with other people. And now that things are beginning to open up a little bit, there's this increased anxiety around expectation that you're going to be around people. So I think there's a couple of different things here. One, recognize that because we are a little bit more used to being on our own or not engaging with a lot of people, it is natural to have some sense of anxiety or resistance to suddenly engaging a lot. Not that that's going to happen for everybody, but it can certainly happen. So know that part of that is just the normal adjustment, getting back into that. But let's be real here. For a lot of you, the desire to be on your own, the desire to disengage is kind of there a lot of the times anyway. So when it's coming from a healthy place, you're aware of the pros and cons. You're able to think about it in a way that doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. So if you are just really feeling kind of depleted, maybe you've had a really long day or a week and you're tired, maybe you haven't been eating well, you haven't been getting enough sleep, and you're just feeling really tired. Well, it might be healthiest for you to not engage because that takes more energy. But is that an excuse that you come up with a lot to not have to engage? That's an important thing to be aware of. How much are you engaging with other people? Is this a one-time thing or a once in a couple of months kind of thing? Or is this something that comes up almost every time that you think about engaging with other people? Those are pretty good indicators. And be honest with yourself about that. I think for any of us, or most of us anyway, we can always connect to a sense of feeling like, oh, I'm kind of tired. I don't know if I really want to do this. Or it's been a really stressful week and I think it would be great to just have the night to myself. And that could be exactly what you need and could be a really healthy choice. But being realistic with yourself, how often does that happen? Do you avoid it because you feel like there's some fear involved in doing it? Do you worry about what people are going to think? Do you feel like you have to put a mask on and show up in a particular way? If any of those things are present, then doesn't mean that going out or engaging is the wrong thing, but recognizing, why do you feel that? Because if you feel like you have to wear a mask to engage with other people, there's more going on there than just should you or shouldn't you. If you are engaging with people where you do feel like you need to wear a mask, then that's something to work on. Maybe it's not the right group of people, or maybe it's more about you taking risks in showing up with the people who matter to you without the mask so that they can get to know you, the real you. Because one of the things that takes a tremendous amount of energy that keeps people from wanting to engage is feeling like they have to put on that mask and they have to hold it tightly so that nobody can see beyond it. That's exhausting, and that doesn't leave you feeling good. In fact, it can often leave you feeling worse and more alone because you're not allowing people to see the truth of who you are. You're not allowing people in a way that allows real connection. You know that you're showing up in a way that isn't feeling genuine or authentic to you. And that creates more separation, which creates more desire to not engage. So recognizing, is this something I tend to do a lot? Are these the excuses I use over and over again? Or is this something that is just what I'm feeling right now? Are there times that actually engaging with somebody leaves you feeling better? Maybe you're more tired, but maybe you feel better or lighter in some way. In those situations, especially if you've been a little bit isolated, I think sometimes it's important to push yourself a little bit to engage, to experience those moments of connection or joy or laughter. Because the more you're able to do that without the mask, the less energy it takes. Because so much of that energy that it takes to be with other people is because we feel like we have to show up in a particular way. Now, another part is, who are these people? Now, if these people are people that really are draining, if they don't have good boundaries, if they, because of their own struggles or issues, they don't really engage with you, it's all about them. Are they really kind of aggressive? Do they not honor your boundaries? Do they push you into things that you don't want to do? Or try to push you into things that you don't want to do? Do they remind you of things that are difficult? Because maybe it's not so much about not wanting to engage as it is not wanting to engage with these people that you feel like you have to or you should. And that's an issue of boundaries, which is a whole other topic. But it's helpful to recognize, is that it? Is there something around boundaries that makes you not want to engage? And that is the reality for a lot of people. It can feel like you don't have a right to say no, or you just have to do what they want you to do, and they talk you into doing things that you didn't really want to do, but you don't feel like you can say no. So of course, the natural inclination is going to be to want to pull back from that and not engage. And if you have difficulty setting boundaries around that and you feel worse afterwards, then maybe that's not something to do. But if it's people that you can feel supported by, if it's people that you can enjoy your time with, then maybe it's not just about avoiding them all the time. Maybe it's learning about how to set boundaries within that. And if engaging might be helpful to you, but you are feeling kind of tired, or you know that as an introvert you need your alone time, maybe you set a clear boundary and intention for yourself before you go. And you say, okay, I'm going to spend an hour. Or if the conversation ends up going into this place, then I will just excuse myself and go to another room, or that will be my cue to head home. So kind of talking to yourself about that before you go and setting some parameters for yourself. I know one of the things that can happen a lot is you can decide to go because it's supposed to be maybe like low key, or it's only going to be one or two people. And you show up and you realize that there's a lot more people, or it's something that you really didn't bargain for. It's okay to recognize that in yourself and make a decision then. Maybe you stay for a much shorter period of time, or maybe you just say goodbye and go. There's not a simple answer to this. It's mostly about being curious within and noticing, what are you saying to yourself? Noticing, do you feel like you have to wear a mask? And if you do have to wear a mask, it doesn't mean don't do it, but it does mean that it's an opportunity to check in with yourself as to why. Does that mean that these people aren't people for you to continue to engage in because it's not really a healthy situation? Or does it mean that you've got some work to do for yourself so that you can feel comfortable in showing up in a very genuine and authentic way? So I know it can bring up a lot of other things, but those are all things that are important to consider. It is important to take time when you need it. But if you tend to do that a lot, it's probably not the healthiest choice. Thank you for watching. If you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please send it to healing@courageous. Nope, sorry, that's the wrong email address. Please send it to Q&A@courageousjourneys.com. I still have healing on my mind from a couple weeks ago. Sorry about that. So if you've got a mental health question that I can help you with, send it to Q&A@courageousjourneys.com. I'll put the link in the description. Know that you're not alone. Know that it's okay to have time to yourself. And also know that if we always want to avoid being with people in general, then there's probably something to work on there. But if it's particular people over and over again, then maybe that's more about the relationship with those people than it is about being an introvert or even it being an unhealthy thing. Because it's natural to want to not engage with people that we don't have good boundaries with or who don't respect our boundaries. So thanks again for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.